Blind date revealed, she never expected to meet her life-changing billionaire boss. In the heart of a cozy Midwestern town, where every face was a familiar one and each day flowed like the sweet iced tea Sarah served at the diner, life felt predictable. But that all changed when her best friend, Maya, bounded into the diner, excitement sparkling in her eyes. "You're going on a blind date tonight," she declared, as if Sarah had just won the lottery. Glistening hope mingled with skepticism tightened Sarah's chest. Could one night really change everything? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky golden, Sarah reluctantly slipped into a black dress that felt too fancy and too foreign. Her mother's slow, labored breaths haunted her thoughts, reminding her of the struggles they faced daily. Would a blind date lead her anywhere but back to her same worries? Yet, under the weight of Maya's enthusiasm, she found herself at a lavish restaurant that felt worlds away from the diner's cheerful chaos. To Sarah's astonishment, her date was Alex, charismatic, wildly successful, and undeniably charming. He seemed out of place in this small-town eatery, yet there was something deeply magnetic about him. They shared smiles that cracked open the walls Sarah had built around her heart. Each laugh sent tingles down her spine, igniting sparks she never thought she'd feel. As their conversation flowed, a local veteran seated nearby began to share stories of sacrifice and family, his voice rich with emotion. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes as she listened. She knew those stories well: hard work, struggles, love, values that had shaped her life. Alex leaned in, clearly moved, and their connection deepened, transcending his wealth and her insecurities. In that moment, they were just two souls, drifting closer together. But as the night wound down, the glimmers of hope dimmed. When Alex spoke of his bustling life, the pressures, and the loneliness of being in a glass tower, a tight knot formed in Sarah's stomach. The specter of his world loomed over her. Could she really step into that? Or would it swallow her whole? Doubt whispered in her ear, urging her to retreat back to the familiarity of her struggles. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tension crackled between them as misunderstandings took root. Sarah couldn't shake off the feeling she'd be giving up her dignity if she accepted his world. Alex's frustration mirrored her own as their heartfelt spark began to dim under the weight of their differences. The night ended badly, with Sarah pushing him away, even as her heart screamed to let him in. Days turned into reflective silence until the town organized a charity gala Alex was heading up. Her anger and his eagerness collided as Sarah stood at the precipice of another chance. This time, the stakes were higher. The world around her rallied in support, arms outstretched toward the improbable. With her mother's love echoing in her mind, the question loomed larger than the night sky: would she dare embrace the love that could change everything, or retreat to the safety of the life she had always known? The night of the charity gala arrived with an air of electric anticipation. Sarah's heart raced as she stood before her mirror, adjusting the strands of her hair. The deep navy dress hugged her in all the right places, but unease stirred in her belly. Was she ready to step out of her comfort zone, or was she just about to step into a world that would drown her? As she made her way to the community center, the evening air was crisp, filled with whispers of leaves and snippets of laughter from nearby gatherings. She could already see the decorations twinkling against the twilight, strings of lights laced through branches and vibrant flowers adorning tables. But it was Alex who captivated her attention most. He stood at the center of the crowd, confidence radiating from him as he moved effortlessly among them, shaking hands and sharing warm smiles. The moment he caught a glimpse of Sarah, everything shifted. Those piercing blue eyes lit up like embers igniting a fire, cutting through the noise of the gala. He walked towards her, taking long strides, and for a moment, it felt like they were alone in a crowded room. The nervousness that had anchored her began to lift, replaced by a fluttering excitement that sent warmth coursing through her veins. "Sarah! You made it," he said, his voice low and inviting. "I'm so glad you're here." "Thanks for having me," she replied, feeling her cheeks flush. She noticed the way his gaze lingered on her, as if taking in every detail. But lingering doubts nagged at her as they spoke, particularly when she saw the people around them, a blend of sophisticated elites and glamorous socialites that seemed to embody everything she feared about Alex's world. "Let us make the most of it," he suggested, gently taking her hand. His touch sent sparks dancing up her arm, grounding her in the moment. "There's a silent auction I want you to see." As they navigated the bustling crowd, Sarah observed how naturally Alex engaged with everyone. He seemed genuinely invested in their conversations, laughing and listening with a warmth that melted the formal barriers typically associated with wealth. She found herself caught between admiration and intimidation. Each compliment shared with guests felt like a testament to a world that was so alien to her, yet she couldn't deny the intrigue. The silent auction items were exquisite art pieces, vacations, and luxury goods. Sarah's eyes widened at a dazzling diamond bracelet on display, the light catching its brilliance. She bit her lip, the price seemed absurd for shiny stones. Perhaps this was all just a show, a reminder that the life she led was simpler but filled with genuine joy. "Do you like it?" Alex's voice broke into her thoughts. "It's beautiful, but it's so extravagant," she replied, forcing a sincere smile despite the flutter of insecurity. "Expensive, yes. But beauty isn't always about the price," he said softly, brushing her cheek with his knuckles, sending warmth dousing her unease. "It's about what it means to you." His gaze locked onto hers, and in that moment, Sarah felt the walls she had built around herself begin to crumble. Could she allow herself to experience this world? Would it really swallow her, or could she adapt, find joy amid the glitter? As the evening continued, the charity speeches stirred deep emotion in her heart. When Alex took the stage, he spoke passionately about community, personal struggle, and the importance of giving back. The guests listened, rapt, and Sarah couldn't help but admire him even more. He wasn't just a billionaire, he was a man who cared. But the more Sarah watched, the more she wrestled with her thoughts. Could she fit in this world? Would gripping hands and polished smiles feel authentic to her? Just as more self-doubt brewed within her, she felt Alex's hand envelop hers. "Stay with me tonight, Sarah," he urged, and his eyes searched hers, a plea laced with sincerity. Her pulse quickened. It was a choice that felt monumental. Stay in the comfort of her past or take a leap into the unknown. As the moment hung in the air, she realized. This decision might redefine everything. Could she truly embrace the love waiting just beyond her fears? The melody of the gala faded into the background as she pondered the weight of his words, the weight of the night, and what lay ahead. The atmosphere of the gala pulsed with energy, yet Sarah felt as if time had slowed to a whisper. Alex's grip on her hand was both a lifeline and a chain, anchoring her to this twisting path of uncertainty. The laughter of guests blurred into a soft hum, and the glimmering lights spun like galaxies around her. She realized she stood at the brink of something monumental, a choice that could shift the very foundation of her life. "Sarah?" His voice cut through her thoughts like a gentle knife. "Yeah." She managed to reply, her heart pounding loud enough to drown out the surrounding chatter. "Let us step outside for a moment," he proposed, tilting his head toward the patio. The idea of being alone with him sent a rush of excitement mingled with trepidation through her. As they stepped onto the patio, the cool night air greeted them, a welcome contrast to the warmth of the room. The stars twinkled overhead, and the gentle breeze carried the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers. It felt intimate. Just the two of them encased in the night. "Sometimes it's hard to breathe in there," Alex said, looking out at the garden. "Too many expectations, too much noise. Out here, it feels real." A spark of understanding passed between them, and she admired how effortlessly he seemed to navigate the chaos of wealth. "Yeah," she breathed, taking a step closer, "it's nice out here. Just us." He turned to face her, the moonlight casting a soft glow on his features. "You know, I've been thinking about how much I admire your courage. It's not easy to step into a place like this." Her heart swelled. "I'm not as strong as you think. I feel like an outsider." Alex took a step forward, their faces just inches apart. "But you came. You took that step. That's what matters." In his eyes, she saw a world of possibility. Yet, doubt hung heavy on her heart. Could she really be a part of his life? The issues of their disparate worlds loomed large. She didn't want to be just the charity case or the girl from the neighborhood. "You're so different from everyone else here, Sarah," he continued, his voice softening. "You bring something genuine to the table. That's rare." Her mind spun with his words, each one a feather weighting her down with both hope and fear. Could she accept that compliment and the implication it carried? Could she really belong in this world fueled by glitz? Suddenly, the gala lights flickered a bit too brightly, and laughter erupted once again from inside, jolting her back to reality. "But what if I can't keep up with this life, Alex? It's intimidating." His expression hardened for a moment, concern evident in his brow. "Then we'll figure it out together. I want to share my world with you, but you have to meet me halfway." His earnestness washed over her and she grasped at the thread of connection they shared. It was electric, yet terrifying. Could she cross this bridge with him? As if sensing her struggle, Alex reached for her hand again, intertwining their fingers. "Can we just take it one step at a time?" His words were like a soothing balm to her fraying nerves. Breathing in deeply, Sarah felt something shift inside her, a resolve teetering on the edge of bravery. "One step at a time," she agreed softly, but her thoughts spiraled into uncertainty. Alex smiled, the kind of smile that transformed everything around him. "Just stay close, and let this night unfold. Who knows what it might lead to?" The question lingered in the air between them, both thrilling and terrifying. As Sarah glanced back inside the gala, she could see a world filled with laughter, connection, and glimmering lights, the life Alex lived. Could she truly step into it, or would the shadows of her past pull her back? Dinner service began, drawing the crowd's attention. But Sarah's heart felt heavy with questions. She squeezed Alex's hand tightly, the decision growing more significant. Would she embrace the journey ahead, or would fear hold her back? "Let us go back in," he urged gently. As they walked back to the crowd, Sarah couldn't shake an unsettling thought. She felt like a moth drawn to a flame, excited but terrified of the heat. What awaited her in this shimmering world? Little did she know, secrets from Alex's past were about to eclipse the present. The moment they stepped back inside, the gala enveloped them like a warm blanket. The music swelled, and the chatter rose to a cheerful pitch that seemed to wrap around Sarah. Yet, in the midst of all this noise, she felt a strange distance, as if there were an invisible wall separating her from the lively crowd. It was a jarring contrast to the intimacy they had just shared outside. "See?" Alex said lightly, breaking her from her reverie. "Told you it's better in here when you have someone like me to share it with." She forced a smile, grateful for his attempt to lighten the mood. But as they weaved back through the throng of elegantly dressed guests, she couldn't shake the looming presence of her insecurities. Her hands were still entwined with his, but now she wondered if she could truly hold on. Suddenly, a familiar figure caught her eye: Hannah, her old friend from high school, gliding across the room in a stunning gown. Hannah spotted Sarah and made a beeline towards her, her expression brightening like the flicker of fireworks. "Sarah! You made it!" Hannah exclaimed, pulling her into a hug almost before Sarah could respond. "I didn't know you were part of this world now. Are you with?" Her eyes darted to Alex, curiosity dancing in them. "This is Alex," Sarah introduced, her voice faltering slightly. "He's, someone I know." "Nice to meet you," Alex said, his voice steady and confident, extending his hand. Hannah took it eagerly, and they exchanged pleasantries. As Sarah watched them, a knot twisted in her stomach. She hadn't prepared for this confrontation. Hannah knew her struggles and had always been supportive, but standing there, next to Alex, she felt exposed. Would Hannah see the disparities between them? Would she read the unspoken words in Sarah's hesitation? "You two make a cute couple," Hannah said, grinning brightly. "Seriously. You look great together." "Thanks," Sarah replied, forcing a smile as panic flickered behind her eyes. The compliment felt like a double-edged sword, sharpening the self-doubt swirling in her mind. "Alex here is a big deal," Hannah continued, nudging her playfully. "The kind of guy who has the world at his fingertips." "What's your secret, Sarah?" The question hit like a stone. Alex caught her gaze, his expression a mixture of encouragement and understanding. But doubt gnawed at her insides. Here was a chance to defend her place, to explain that she was just a girl from the neighborhood trying to make her way, not just an accessory to his fortune. She started, searching for the right words. "I just want to take things one step at a time." Before she could elaborate, they were interrupted by a voice that sliced through the air. "Alex! There you are." Sarah turned to see a striking woman in a form-fitting dress approach them. Her confidence radiated, and Sarah felt an immediate instinct to shrink back. "I've been looking everywhere for you," she continued, her gaze moving right past Sarah, landing squarely on Alex. "Well, here I am," he replied, a hint of reluctance in his voice. The woman, whose name Sarah didn't know, leaned in closer to him, their chemistry palpable. "Come on. Everyone's waiting for the speeches." She didn't even acknowledge Sarah, as if she was merely part of the backdrop. Sarah's heart sank. This was the world Alex belonged to, a world where she felt invisible and small. Suddenly, the night seemed surreal, as if the glimmering lights were dimming just for her. "Do you want me to go with her?" he asked softly, looking at her with genuine concern. "No." Her response was sharper than she meant it to be. The thought of being left behind sent a wave of panic through her. "I mean, it's fine. I can just stay here." His brow furrowed. "Sarah, I just go." She squeezed his hand tightly once more and offered a shaky smile, trying to mask the whirlwind of emotions threatening to spill over. As Alex moved to follow the woman, Sarah watched him go, feeling an ache of loneliness swell inside her. She felt exposed, like a flower in winter, desperately longing for sunlight but surrounded by chilling doubt. Hannah lingered beside her, concern etched on her face. "Are you okay? You look a bit pale." "I'm fine," Sarah insisted, but the lie sat heavy in her chest. But as the applause from the crowd erupted in waves, she couldn't help but wonder if she had misstepped. Had she just let a part of her guard down only to see it slip away? The woman who had taken Alex's attention felt like a looming shadow, one that forced her to consider how far she was willing to go to remain in this world. A voice whispered in the back of her mind, reminding her that her journey had only just begun. Would she find the strength to stand firm in her own light, or would she keep hiding in the shadows? The answer to that question ignited deep fear within her, but could it also unlock a flame of resolve? The applause faded, swallowed by the chatter and melody that continued to swirl around Sarah like an unfinished song. She felt lost, a solitary note dropped into a symphony where every other sound played in harmony. Hannah's warm presence next to her offered some comfort, but even that felt fleeting, like trying to catch smoke. "Are you sure you're okay? You seem a little off," Hannah pressed gently, concern flickering in her eyes. "I'll be fine." "Really," Sarah replied, though it sounded more like a mantra than a genuine assurance. She glanced toward the stage, where Alex stood among a crowd of well-dressed elites, laughing with the striking woman who had interrupted them. It twisted like a knife in her chest. "Come on, let us get a drink." "You look like you could use it," Hannah said, taking her arm and guiding her through the crowd. The sound of clinking glasses echoed as they passed by clusters of conversations, laughter bursting like fireworks around them. Sarah tried to focus on Hannah's words, but her mind kept wandering back to Alex. What did he see in her? Was she merely a momentary distraction, a girl lost in his world? It felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown. "Here we are," Hannah exclaimed, pulling Sarah toward the bar. The bartender, a young man with a charming smile, mixed drinks with speed and precision. "What do you want?" Hannah asked, glancing at the drink menu with a quirked brow. "Just water," Sarah replied, her voice almost drowned out by the music. It was strange how she didn't feel like celebrating tonight, despite the glittering surroundings. The celebration felt less like a party and more like a masquerade. "Water? Really?" Hannah questioned, her surprise evident. "You need to let loose a little. Come on, girl, who knows when the next gala will be." The laughter and vibrancy of the moment spilled over, but Sarah didn't quite feel it. She wanted to be anywhere but that bar, watching as Alex chatted animatedly, looking infinitely confident and charming. Before Sarah could respond, a familiar face broke through the crowd. It was another friend from high school, Marcus, who approached with wide eyes. "Sarah! What a surprise to see you here." "Marcus," Sarah said, her face lighting up as she hugged him. It was a welcome distraction, a piece of her past in a night filled with uncertainty. "What are you doing with all these highflyers?" he teased, his voice friendly but probing. "I'm just here with Alex," she explained, trying to keep her tone casual, though it felt like a vulnerable confession. "You know, enjoying the night. Right, Alex the billionaire?" He nodded knowingly. "Looks like you've struck gold there, huh?" His words brought a hint of warmth, but the familiar feeling of inadequacy crept back. Hadn't she always felt like she was just a bit below everyone? A shadow among the stars? She felt the need to clarify, to shout out that fortune wasn't everything. "He's genuinely nice," she insisted, but the defense felt weak even to her own ears. "Sounds like you've got it all figured out," Marcus said, his eyes glimmering with joy. "Good for you, Sarah. Totally happy for you." But while Marcus smiled, Sarah felt her heart race with a mixture of fear and uncertainty. Was he really happy for her, or was that just a cover for his own confusion about where she belonged? As he wandered off, Sarah turned back to Hannah, who was watching her carefully. "What's up?" Hannah asked. "You don't seem so cheerful about this newfound world of yours." "I guess I don't want to be a trophy," Sarah said quietly, the weight of the world pressing down on her. The words flowed out like ice water, chilling in their stark reality. "Honey, you're not a trophy. You're so much more than that," Hannah said, reaching for her hand. "You have to believe that." But could she? Could she shed the layers of doubt and insecurity? A flicker of determination ignited within her, fighting against those inner demons. Suddenly, the lights dimmed, and the music shifted. The crowd quieted, anticipation building. Sarah felt Hannah squeeze her hand tightly, as if they were both bracing for something monumental. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering tonight," a voice boomed from the stage. Sarah's heart raced. As her eyes darted toward Alex, standing confidently under the spotlight, she couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change everything. Was it finally the time to step into her own light, or would she once again fade into the background? The questions hung in the air, heavy and unresolved, as the spotlight seemed to beam down on her, illuminating a choice she had yet to face. Would she finally find the strength to step up, or would she let it all slip away again? Under the golden glow of the stage lights, Alex's figure radiated confidence, standing tall like a lighthouse amidst a sea of uncertainty. The crowd leaned in, riveted by the words pouring from him. Sarah's heart pounded, each beat echoing the overwhelming tension within her. He was captivating, drawing everyone in with his charm and humor. Yet, even as she admired him, an insatiable fear clawed at her. No longer just an audience member, what if she found herself on that stage? What would she say? Would her voice barely rise above a whisper, or would it falter altogether? Alex paused, scanning the audience, and for a heartbeat, Sarah was convinced their eyes would lock. But then, the moment passed, and he continued speaking to the crowd. Tonight is about connection. It's about breaking down barriers that keep us from true understanding of one another. His voice rang clear as if he were speaking directly to her heart. Hannah nudged her, a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. "See. This is what you came for," she whispered. "He's amazing." "Amazing," Sarah echoed, but the word felt hollow against the rolling tides of her doubt. Did he really mean what he was saying? Alex was about to dive deeper into his speech, but suddenly, his gaze drifted again, sweeping the audience like a searchlight. When it finally rested on Sarah, her breath hitched. It was as if the air around them thickened, bringing the entire gala to a standstill. There it was, the connection he spoke of, yet it felt more like a weight pinning her down. "Sarah," he said, his voice rising above the crowd, "you've been an inspiration to me." The audience shifted, their eyes darting between them, a chorus of whispers trailing behind them. Was he joking? It felt surreal, lauding her when she felt so small. His sincerity washed over her, cascading over her insecurities like a warm blanket. In that moment, everything inside her screamed to respond, to stand tall beside him. She could feel the eyes of the crowd, feel the warmth flooding from Hannah, urging her to step forward. But each second felt like a lifetime, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last. "Maybe it's time for you to stop hiding in the shadows, Sarah," she imagined Hannah whispering into her ear. "You deserve to shine just as brightly." As Alex continued, outlining a new project he was passionate about, Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. She thought of her own dreams, those that had been buried under the weight of self-doubt. She had so much to offer. And standing here, she could felt that flicker home in on her. "Sarah, would you stand up?" he suddenly asked, breaking her from her reverie. The room murmured, shifting in curiosity. All eyes were on her, and her heart threatened to leap from her chest. Slowly, she rose to her feet. The room hushed, anticipation hanging in the air like the last note of a song. "This is my best friend, and the person who has inspired me greatly in the last year," Alex said. "She's part of this project, and I can't imagine launching it without her." The applause that erupted felt both exhilarating and terrifying, vibrations of support mingling with her creeping worry. Could she really take the plunge? Could she be who everyone believed she was? Yet, as she gazed at Alex, a smile spread across her face, igniting a flicker of hope. But hope only fueled her fears even more. Could she manage in this elite world, or was she doomed to remain the girl who lived in Alex's shadow? "Come on, Sarah. Show them who you really are," Alex said from the stage. The room pulsed with energy, and she could either step into that light or fade back into the safety of familiarity. But as the applause rang like a heartbeat, Sarah realized it wouldn't just be her stepping forward, it would be an entire transformation. As the clapping faded into whispers, an unexpected tension coiled between her and Alex, a connection thick with unexpressed potential. Was this the moment she had awaited, or did destiny still hold surprises that would turn her world upside down? And just as she gathered courage to respond, a moment from behind caught her attention. A shadow lurked in the fringes of the crowd, an unexpected figure that sent a shiver up her spine. What did it mean for her? The figure at the edge of the crowd seemed entirely out of place, a stark contrast to the shimmer and glitz that surrounded them. Sarah squinted, struggling to make out the details. It was as if time stretched, elongating each heartbeat as the vibrant energy of the gala faded into muted whispers. Each clap of encouragement felt further away, and her heart raced, teetering between hope and dread. She couldn't shake the feeling that she should know this person. The familiarity gnawed at her, fraying the edges of her composure. Whoever they were looking straight at her with an intensity that felt absorbing, almost predatory. Her palms turned clammy, and she instinctively tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, as if it could hide her growing unease. Sarah. Alex's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts, shakily bringing her back to the present. This is your moment. You've got this. The crowd buzzed around her, and Hannah shot her a thumbs up, a bright smile still plastered on her face. But all Sarah could do was steal glances at the stranger, a fleeting sense of recognition sparking inside her. For a moment, she wished she could see past that shadow, discover who was hidden in the darkness. Are you ready? Alex urged gently, slowly encouraging her toward the spotlight. Yeah, she breathed, though she could feel her resolve slip away like grains of sand through her fingers. But as she took a cautious step, the shadow shifted. Just then, the figure stepped into the light. Sarah's heart sank. It was Jacob, her former boss. He looked different, more polished, more refined, but undeniably the same. Panic surged. What was he doing here? Thoughts collided chaotically in her mind. He had left the company under less than ideal circumstances. Did he know she was here? Did he come looking for her? All the dread she had felt about standing up on the stage now amplified tenfold. The room's murmurs faded into oblivion, and all she could hear was the cacophony of her pulse in her ears. She hadn't seen Jacob since his abrupt departure, a mistake she'd been told would haunt her career if she ever wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Sarah? The name tumbled from Alex's lips, confusion lining his brow as he noticed her hesitation. Is everything okay? She wanted to say yes, but her mouth felt dry. The exhilaration of the crowd, the noise of their support, suddenly felt suffocating. Jacob's eyes were piercing, holding secrets she was frightened to uncover. Can you talk to him later? Hannah whispered urgently. You can't let him ruin this moment. But in a heartbeat, her courage wavered. The very idea that she might have to confront Jacob felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. She was terrified of what she might find below. The past crashed against her future desires, leaving her utterly unsure. I don't know if I can do this, she murmured, trembling as she scanned the room, feeling lost and vulnerable. Believe in yourself, Sarah, Hannah murmured, now by her side, her voice grounding but tinged with urgency. Look at the people here. They want to hear from you. Don't let him take that away. The shadow still loomed, waiting, while Alex's warm presence offered a flicker of safety. But doubt clawed its way back into her heart as Sarah's thoughts fought against the gravity of the situation. Could she really step out of the shadows, or would she be tethered forever to the confusion Jacob brought? With a deep breath, she opened her mouth, prepared to respond to Alex, but another sound caught her ear, a phone ringing, piercing the moment inappropriately. The ringtone was shrill, drawing everyone's attention to Jacob. As he fished for his phone, anxiety gripped her. What would he say? What was coming next? And just as she prepared to step into her new chapter, the stranger beside Jacob transformed her anticipation into dread. A face emerged that made her heart drop further into the abyss. Could this be the reveal that would change everything? Jacob's phone rang loudly, reverberating off the gilded walls of the gala. Everyone's heads turned, creating a rippling wave of curiosity that swept through the crowd. Sarah felt as if the world around her had shifted on its axis, focusing all its weight on her fragile heart. Jacob's grip on the phone was steady, but she recognized the twitch of his jaw, the way his eyes flitted nervously to her. Then, she caught sight of the woman next to him. More than just another face in a crowd, this one was striking. Long, dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, and she wore a fitted emerald dress that shimmered dangerously under the lights. Sarah's stomach tightened. Something about her was unnervingly familiar, and that connection sent a jolt down her spine. Jacob. The woman called, her voice a sweet lilt, cutting through the chatter of the gala. Are you really going to take that call now? Jacob turned toward her, forcing a smile as if the tension hanging between them was nothing but a slight misunderstanding. I can handle this. His voice was confident, but Sarah could see the crack beneath his bravado. His eyes darted back to Sarah, desperation escaping in the way they flickered. What's going on, Jacob? Sarah's voice barely escaped her lips, thick with an emotion she couldn't quite label. Anger? Fear? Uncertainty? It was a heady mix that left her slightly dizzy. The moment dragged on, the world pressing in closer, filling her lungs with electric air. All around her, the moment was frozen, the crowd holding its collective breath. The woman's gaze never left Jacob, a knowing smile intricately woven into her expression. Suddenly, a thought sparked into existence. Was this some kind of setup? Did Jacob bring her here, expecting to run into Sarah, while figuring out how to play both sides? Sarah, please, Jacob said, snapping her from her spiraling thoughts. This isn't what you think. Then what is it? She could feel Hannah's presence next to her, a grounding force that amplified her courage. Just take the call, the woman interrupted, her tone less than friendly. He needs to talk to his partner. Partner? A wave of nausea crashed over Sarah. It echoed through her like a surge of cold water. She had known Jacob when he held the reins at their former company, a mentor, a friend. But had he made deals beyond her knowledge? Was he living a life she was completely oblivious to? Do you really think I'm going to stand here and let you manipulate the situation, Jacob? She was shocked by her own voice, sharp, clear, cutting through the thick tension. Jacob's sharp inhalation suggested surprise, but the woman next to him that had started to weave doubt into Sarah's heart smiled, clearly enjoying the spectacle. This is awkward, she said, leaning slightly closer to Jacob, who was now looking between the two women with utter confusion. Maybe we should take this elsewhere. But Sarah couldn't breathe. The ground seemed to tremble beneath her feet, and gravity lost its hold as she realized how entangled she was in this web. I want to let you both push me aside. Whatever's happening, I deserve to know. The crowd began to murmur again, a wave of movement that rippled like a tide, drawing eyes back to the scene. Jacob opened his mouth, the words lingering just within reach, but no sound came. Panic coursed through Sarah as she felt the cacophony of whispers that combined with her spiraling thoughts. She suddenly felt exposed, standing under the glaring lights of judgment and curiosity. And as Sarah's mind raced, forcing her to process the labyrinth of relationships now snarled in front of her, she couldn't escape the thought that perhaps her past had finally caught up with her in a way she never anticipated. Just then, her phone buzzed furiously in her clutch. The screen lit up, revealing a message that flipped her heart again. It was from a number she didn't recognize, but the words were clear: I know the truth about Jacob. Meet me. It's urgent. Adrenaline surged hot through her veins as she glanced back at Jacob and the mysterious woman beside him. The precarious tension shifted dramatically in that moment, and Sarah realized the stakes had just been raised. What was the truth lurking beneath the surface, and was she ready to discover it? The air felt electric around Sarah, each heartbeat echoing the urgency embedded in the message. She quickly tucked her phone away, refocusing on Jacob. His gaze, once warm and reassuring, now felt distant and shrouded in confusion, mounting questions swirling in his eyes. Sarah, let's just talk somewhere private, he urged, his voice firm but laced with desperation. The woman's presence beside him, a phantom of doubt and revelation, seemed to magnify everything that now felt wrong. Talk about what, Jacob? She snapped, the quiver in her voice a mix of fear and indignation. About how you've kept secrets from me? Or about how you've invited someone who clearly knows more than I do about your life? The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, like a swelling wave ready to crash. Sarah felt as though she was at the center of a maelstrom, with everyone watching, judging, waiting for her next move. She caught Hannah's concerned look from the corner of her eye, but the weight of the revelation bore down heavily on her. "Sarah, please," Jacob started again, and she could see the sincerity in his eyes. But just as a lifeline was thrown, the woman interrupted. "Enough." Her voice cut through the air, sharp as glass. "Jacob, this isn't the time for a heart-to-heart. You have a business to manage." Her gaze flicked back to Sarah, holding her captive in an icy stare. "We both know what's at stake here." Jacob's jaw clenched, and for a fleeting moment, it seemed he was caught between two worlds: the past he had with Sarah and whatever chaotic reality he was tangled in with this striking stranger. Sarah felt her heart race, every word an invitation to dip deeper into a pool she wasn't sure she wanted to enter. "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper, screaming inside that she needed answers, but dread coiling within her stomach. The woman smirked, as if she had been waiting for this moment, for the spotlight to shift onto the darker corners of Jacob's life. "Let us not pretend, shall we? He's not just your mentor. He's been playing both sides. You deserve to know the truth." The world around Sarah dimmed, drowning in a sea of betrayal. Her body felt heavy, each breath laden with heartbreak and confusion. Memories flooded back: late-night meetings, whispered secrets, and laughter shared over clinking glasses. Had it all been a facade? "Stop it!" Jacob finally burst out, his voice a tangible mix of anger and hurt. "Sarah, I did not betray you. You have to trust me." "Trust?" The word hung between them like a fog, hard to see through but impossible to ignore. Sarah searched Jacob's face. She wanted to believe him, to brush off the woman's wild claims, but the seeds of doubt had been planted. A harsh laugh erupted from the woman. "Trust? How can she trust you when you've hidden things for so long? You think this was just a simple business venture? You're deeper in this than you realize, Jacob." Sarah looked from Jacob to the woman. The stakes were higher than she had anticipated, and the ghosts of their shared past threatened to consume any chance she had at clarity. Before she could open her mouth to respond, her phone buzzed again. Her hands trembled as she pulled it free, her breath hitching in anticipation. The message was brief, but it sent a shiver down her spine. "Meet me in the back garden. I have proof." The urgency resonated within her, but her heart pounded with fear of what she might discover. She stepped back, partially turning away from the unfolding tension, seeking refuge in the chaos of the gala. Every instinct screamed for her to find the source of the message and uncover the truth. But what if the risk revealed something she wasn't prepared to handle? "Sarah, please don't go," Jacob called after her, desperation threading through his voice. With one last glance at him and the captivating stranger who held a key to his secrets, Sarah turned and disappeared into the crowd. Clarity and chaos collided in her heart, and somewhere in the shadows of the garden awaited answers that could shatter everything she thought she knew. Would she find the truth she craved, or something far worse? The night was dark, but the path ahead was illuminated by curiosity and dread. What awaited her on the other side would change everything. The garden stood awash in a soft glow as Sarah navigated past vine-laden trellises and flickering lanterns. Each step pulled her further away from the buzzing gala and closer to the truth she so desperately needed. The air smelled of blooming jasmines, their sweetness almost tugging at her, comforting yet bittersweet. "Meet me in the back garden. I have proof." The message echoed in her mind, fueling her apprehension. Who awaited her? A part of her wished she could turn back, but her feet moved of their own accord, guided by the mounting urgency for answers. As she rounded a corner, the moonlight cast shadows that danced around her. And then, she saw him, an unfamiliar figure cloaked in the darkness, yet somehow oddly familiar. It was Ethan, an old acquaintance from her past who had always been a little too close to Jacob's business. Ethan? She hesitated, unsure if she could trust him even as he approached. "Sarah. I'm so glad you came," he said with an earnestness that felt uncharacteristic to her experiences. You deserve to know what's really going on. What do you mean? She crossed her arms, a shiver running down her spine, cautious like a deer in the woods. Ethan glanced around, ensuring the coast was clear. It's about Jacob. He's tangled up with some shady business partners, and I think it's affecting you more than you know. Her heart twisted as he continued. They want to use your connection to him to get to where they want to be, business deals and power games. You're caught in the middle. Why are you telling me this? Sarah whispered, dread churning in her stomach. If you know this, why didn't you tell Jacob? Because he refuses to see it. Ethan shook his head sadly. I didn't think you were still in contact, but when you showed up tonight with him, it all came crashing back. He's bowing to pressure, Sarah, and he's keeping you in the dark. Her chest tightened as pieces of the puzzle she'd been wrestling with fell into place. This wasn't just about her feelings anymore, this was about corruption and betrayal threading long fingers around everything she believed. Why now? She asked, struggling to keep her voice steady. Why tell me this tonight? Ethan's eyes shone with sincerity. Because I care about you. I never wanted to see you hurt, and if those people have plans, you need to get out before it's too late. Sarah felt a surge of anger and sorrow mixed into her emerging resolve. You're saying Jacob has been lying to me all this time? Not just lying, Ethan said carefully. He's made choices that put you in danger. You deserve so much more than this. The impact of his words crashed down, and for the first time that night, she dared to imagine life unbounded by Jacob's shadow. Are you ready to leave him behind? Ethan's voice held a thread of urgency. The question hung heavy in the air. Could she truly walk away from everything, this entangled past and unknown future? A flash of Alex flickered through her mind, the comfort he brought, the promise of something more. But could she accept it? As dread curled in her gut, the fluttering uncertainty morphed into determination. She had been uncertain for too long, and her heart ached with the desire for ownership over her life. I need to confront Jacob, she said suddenly, a fierce flame igniting within her. I can't let him control my story any longer. Ethan nodded, a mixture of admiration and concern in his gaze. Just be careful. With each step she traced back toward the gala, uncertainty bled into newfound clarity. It was terrifying yet exhilarating. The crowd still buzzed with excitement, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. As Sarah crossed the threshold, she caught sight of Jacob talking animatedly with the woman from before. Their chemistry felt like a whip, slashing through the hints of warmth that lingered in her memories of the past. Sarah. Jacob turned, eyes widening as he spotted her. What's wrong? You disappeared. It's over, Jacob, she asserted, her voice steady and unwavering. The vibrant energy around them seemed to quiet as people turned to listen. His face fell. What are you talking about? I know everything. Her words were sharp, cutting through the air. I don't want to play games anymore. You sought your own interest, and I won to stand for it. The crowd murmured, and gravity pulled at Jacob's expression, confusion morphing into anger. You don't understand. I was trying to protect you. And you thought lying and pretending would do that? She felt the flood of validation rising, echoing in every heart nearby. I'm not afraid of what you hide anymore. I want to step into my own light. The tension was palpable as their eyes locked, memories flickering between them like photographs fading to impressions. Without waiting for a reply, Sarah turned, her heart racing as she sought out Alex. He was still surrounded by applause and bright laughter, but now she saw something different, layers of the future wrapped in his warmth and kindness, shimmering amidst the chaos. As she stepped forward, unwavering in her resolve, she caught his gaze. It was as if he could see straight into her soul, understanding without her saying a word. Sarah. He called, stepping away from his conversations, determination igniting his eyes. "What's wrong?" "I need you," she breathed, the sincerity of her plea emerging raw and unguarded. "I want to be part of the life you're building together, not living in shadows." The smiles that framed his expression melted into something softer, more profound. The connections she had long seen as daunting suddenly felt like threads bringing them together. With a radiant smile dissolving doubts, she stepped forward and took his hand. In that moment, it was more than just acceptance, it was partnership. Together, they faced the crowd, a future free from shadows. The echoes of laughter rippled again, but now it filled her heart with hope, weaving into their beginning. "I want to begin my story now," Sarah announced, her voice steady, drawing the attention of the crowd and all within earshot. "I choose to let go of what chains me and embrace what's ahead." And like a phoenix emerging from embers, she stood tall, the flames of liberation flickering brightly, embracing every emotion. Was this the moment they had long sought, a collective realization that past shadows wouldn't dictate the brilliance of their new journey? Amidst applause and assurance radiating from Alex, every fear drifted away, shifting into belief. With newfound courage, Sarah knew they would conquer the world together, two souls shining their light against any darkness. Don't wait another second. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you never miss out on more heartwarming transformations. Leave a like now if this story inspired you. Feeding the algorithm helps us reach more amazing people. Comment below with your feelings and thoughts about this ending. Your voice matters. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful journey. You need to support the channel.